Hello everyone, and welcome back to KitbashCarnage. So today we're going to kitbash a little figurine for Trench Crusade. So it's not really any particular miniature itself, it's basically just a Roman walking death kind of miniature guy. Basically just one of the guys who roam the wasteland between the trenches and just kills anything that is in the open field, like the open plains. So we're going to use this little 3D printed miniature and we're just going to chop the face off, attach this little Nurgle kind of mask, and then go on from there. Apologies for being away for so long, but back working crazy hours again, just a bit more responsibility as usual, and just trying to get stuff done. And with that comes a bit less time for doing stuff like this, but I have a big backlog of footage. It's just about getting the editing done now, which is the longest part for myself personally. I can bash these kit bashes out pretty quick. Sometimes I do about 5 kit bashes in a day. I do have loads of footage, but like I said, it's editing, getting the time to sit down and edit them all, then tends to take up quite a long time. So here we're just sticking on some gel super glue, and then we're going to stick the Nurglin head, or the Nurgle kind of head, not Nurglin, but the Nurgle head kind of mask on the front there, kind of trying to blend it in as much as possible, hence why we use the gel kind of glue, and that kind of fills it up as we push it close together. And then we blend it in with some paint and more stuff. Like, you could blend it in with some milliput or some green stuff, but to be honest, I'm just trying to bash this guy out, and it blends in quite well later on with the paint, and that you can't really see the seam that much. So the outcome is quite good. It was better than I expected, as with a lot of my projects. I like the way the head kind of has these, they look like antlers coming out, and we're going to paint them in the same color tone as the skin, so it's as if the antlers, like the bones from the head, have pushed out the skin, creating these antlers, instead of like having antlers to begin with, if that makes sense. So yeah, you'll see it when we do the paint job later on, trying to create the look of the bones from the head, the skull itself, like the head forcing out and then stretching the skin and tearing it, like ripping the skin to create these kind of horned looks kind of on the head. Apologies, English, yeah, still can't speak it. So I had this other arm, well, I have lots of arms on these sprues that I got from Dan over in We War Game, link in the description, and I used one of these arms from the sprues just to stick on the miniature here, kind of giving him a third arm. So one of the arms he's stabbing himself, and then another arm is like kind of like a robotic arm, and it has like a knife attached to it. So I don't know, it looked quite kind of cool in the end, and now we are trying to make this mace, like, so it's a mace that is just made out of skulls. So we simply just got a piece of plastic offcut that we had, attached a jeweler's chain to it, and then a bit of super glue and sticking these skulls to the end. You can see that third arm there, and then we're sticking all this to a base and wrapping the chain around it, and then I flicked it over the horns there. It kind of looks kind of cool, and then it can dangle. Gives that bit more character and a bit of like definition to the whole thing, that bit of like depth instead of it just lying on the ground itself. As you see, it kind of swinging in the end. It kind of got a bit unstuck, but I like this little swinging motion. It gives, like I said, that bit of character to it. And then we're just going to do our favourite part of all this hobby, painting. So yeah, no sarcasm there. But I'm actually enjoying painting recently. The more I paint, the more I'm starting to like it again. I'm trying to home in my own skills now again, kind of adapt to what I need at the moment. So yeah, we're just gonna paint this up using a skin tone for the skin. And then work our way with some different colors that are in our palette. Instead of like adding more colors, we'll try to use our colors that are in our palette. So like I said, they're using the skin tone for the skin, and then kind of using a darker tone for the rags, and moving on from there. hope everyone is having a good October so far, and creating some spooky and crazy stuff. I'm gonna have a little project on the sidelines. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see that I'm creating like a little pumpkin unit, so there's more to come with that. And also I'm going to see, can I get a video? I'm in the middle of editing another video of my Trench Crusade coffee table board that I'm doing, so I'm gonna put some more videos up of that before the end of October. So as you see, we're just slapping these colours on, building layer by layer as per our patent pended painting technique. I could barely even say that, you know, congrats to me for even being able to say that properly. But yeah, we're just building layer upon layer, letting one layer dry before moving on to the next, or while we move on to the next, one layer has dried, and then just applying thin coats upon thin coats. And then moving on, we painted the ropes here, the skin, the ropes, the rags, and then we're going to move on to all the metal kind of colours, the chains, the metal arm, and then so forth, move on to skulls and the base and all that. So the little spikes that are on the front there, they are just leftover pieces of milliput just made into little spike things. And then the skulls that are on the base itself, it's once again just leftover green stuff that I just use a skull roller, texture roller that I have. And I just rolled out some skulls on like flat like this, and I have a little bag that I can just cut up like little chunks like this and place them down, and it just adds that little bit of definition or a little bit of character. I love them that words, definition and character. I tend to use that a lot. But it just adds to the base itself. I did want to, oh, there's the super glue nearly gone. I did want to build a better base, but being able to paint this meant I had to stick it to either a cork holder or the actual base itself, and then I didn't want to snap it off because of the chain, and I didn't want to break everything. And we like Carnage on this channel. Carnage happens naturally, but I try to avoid causing more myself when I can. So this is the outcome of the whole mini. I enjoyed the whole painting process in the end. I really liked the way it came out. Thank you all again for watching. Like, subscribe and follow, and I'll catch you all in the next one.